All yours, Richard.
I know exactly what you're thinking. A coming out story, groundbreaking. But this ain't your mama's coming out story. It's mine, my mama's, sort of. Well, let's just start at the beginning. I was born in Greenville, South Carolina. My earliest memories are of mama and daddy not getting along very well. Then the divorce and mama's friend, Dorothy. Yes, mama was literally a friend of Dorothy. She moved in, and we now had what we call a blended family in the Possum Kingdom community of Greenville County. Despite transferring from Mama and Dorothy's house on weekdays to Daddy's and Debbie's house on weekends, with all the joy and tension of a hostage exchange, I had a wonderful dream of a childhood in my head. Imagine looking out the window at a very young, very skinny me, talking to myself in a dream world and spinning around circles. Wonder Woman! All the world is waiting for you and the powers you possess. In your satin tights, fighting for your rights, and the old red, white, and blue Wonder Woman. Oh, yes, honey, she could sing. So did my mama. No two people in my childhood dream world could be more alike than me and mama. We crave for our talents to be rewarded, recognized, and just have some control in a world hell-bent on never letting us shine like the stars we so clearly are. But there weren't many stages in rural South Carolina back then. No internet to discover us. Reality TV didn't yet come to the Possum Kingdoms of the world to tape The Simple Life with Paris and Nicole. If they did, today I'd be Kesha. But there was the Baptist church, and mama could always be coaxed, begged, into offering a solo for the glory of the Lord's name and maybe just a little bit of her own self-worth. I caught the bug at my first church performance at the age of 5. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Except the microphone stand had been set for a kid even younger than me. And not knowing, I just bent over and sang at the microphone stand at 5, and everyone laughed. This got me hooked. From that point forward, any stage you could put me on. By the time I left high school, I'd been a star of a 60-member Black gospel choir. And as they said earlier, I got to sing solos with Shirley Caesar and Patti LaBelle. But while the church discovered and celebrated our talent, it also repressed our identity so thoroughly that I was convinced that my growing teenage attraction to boys was a phase or could be prayed away. I rationed my fantasy sessions. I had to look at the girls in the Penthouse magazine I stole from my uncles for a whole week before I could let myself look at the men in the Penthouse magazines, a sort of cheat day. Eventually, my 18-year-old virgin self bought a book, not the Bible. It was Paul Monet's memoir, Becoming a Man. I read that book overnight. I wrestled with its messages of sexual freedom and the white-hot rage against Reagan's government for doing nothing in the face of HIV/AIDS. I wrestled with the angels and a couple of sex scenes that night, and determined at that time that whether through lack of interest or lack of existence, God wasn't going to answer my prayers. I was not straight. The next day at the open book, I told the out gay man and bookseller that recommended Becoming a Man that, well, I like boys and girls. He wasn't shocked. And over the next few days, as I told all 5 of the queers and every gay friendly person I knew, very few people were shocked. But what about mama? Sure, there have been rumors and just the assumption by some folks that Pam Marie Streetman, yes, PMS are mama's initials, and Dorothy were more than friends. They shared a home, a bed, menstrual cycles They wore the same tops with sports logos and cats and dogs on them. They had sensible shoes and very short haircuts that said business on top and party in the back. But those are just stereotypes, right? Well, my 18-year-old virgin self couldn't ask her. I was still living in Greenville while Mama had moved 4 hours east to North Myrtle Beach after Dorothy and my older sister moved there. Never mind that I was 18 at the time. Time to drop out of school and move in with a stranger who took me in exchange for Mama's air conditioner and a color TV to fend for myself. Bitter, still bitter. Okay, maybe it was more than rumors, but the only way to find out was to come out. So I hitched a ride with my mama's grandmother, on her way to a week-long vacation in Myrtle Beach with the intention of coming out to more people than a bookseller. I got my practice coming out to my close friend Susan and the actors and waiters at Cafe and Then Some, a musical dinner theater, a lot of gays there. My first night out in Myrtle Beach, I visited my first queer bar, Time Out. And when the manager read my name on my ID, Streetman, do you know Pam? She's the best player on the bowling team. She was also the only woman on the bowling team. Fast forward a couple of days, and I've outed myself to my sister and Dorothy, and it's Mama's turn. I was so nervous. I think we all know what I was going to say, but it was just so hard to get the words out of my mouth. And as soon as I said it, I immediately wanted to shift the attention to something else. This is how it went. Mama, I like boys and girls, so what are you? Her response was, there are no words to describe what I am. Well, this was a good enough answer for the next subject. For me, next subject, although some weeks later, my friend Susan finally met my mother. And when my mother went to the restroom, Susan turns to me and says, is your mama a lesbian? And I tell her, well, when I came out, she said to me, there are no words to describe what I am. Dyke. Dyke is the word. Okay, so we've got the story here. Basically, my mother never quite had that chance to come out to me. We did spend a lot of time, she singing, by that time, karaoke in the bars, and me visiting her every once in a while. I do remember getting a chance to sing one of her favorite songs, and we both we cried then at karaoke at Time Out in Myrtle Beach, just before she passed away of cancer, 2003 at this point. So I'll sing it for you now, a little bit of that song. And there's some truth to it. Some say love, it is a river that drowns the tender reed. Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed. Some say love, it is a hunger, an endless aching need. I say love, it is a flower, and you, its only seed. I guess it is like Willie Shakespeare said, the whole world is a stage. Thank you for letting me and the spirit of my mama come out on this stage tonight and let our light shine.